Happy Tuesday night. Go Flames. Got that in the background. Might even put it on later. Apparently we're going for a draft pick now, which is a strategy the Oilers are very good at. Calgary has not historically been good at losing on purpose, but I guess we'll see what happens there. We don't need to talk about that right now. Just killing a little bit of time while we wait for a few more people to join us. Joined this evening by our friend James Bornn in Vancouver, who's with Authentic Wine and Spirits and a big whiskey fan, and probably no stranger to most of you. And then my colleague Harmony is on tonight too. While we're waiting for stragglers, a couple of quick, suppose public service announcements. Friendly reminder that the this is not it. Still, this is or no, still not an advent calendar. I can't even figure out what our own clever or not so clever marketing on this is, but it's ready for pickup. We've got one here as well. If you haven't bought one and you're still thinking about it, we are in the process of producing some more later this week. Our initial run did sell out, which is awesome. But if you do have one at the store, we do encourage you to come in and pick it up because we are short of space. My staff would be grateful for that. Also, if you purchased anything during the sale, we'd also be grateful if you came in and picked that up too. For the same reason, the store is full of bags and boxes that are awaiting their forever home and hopefully to be reunited soon. So a couple of quick plugs for things coming up. Nick Neen is on Friday night with Annabelle Thomas, joining us from Scotland. One of the 50-odd new distilleries to open in Scotland over the last 20 years. We'll dive into Nick Neen with Annabelle. Like a lot of the other new distilleries, it's got very good spirit. The whiskeys are young, but I think they have a ton of potential. And so excited to go through that with Annabelle. And then the last event that we have, tickets available for purchase or kits available for registration this year, is December 2nd. My buddy Doug and I will be talking all things Cadenhead as we do a bit of enigmas, some original collection, and even a couple of rums, and talk a little bit about the history of Cadenheads and such. But enough about all that. And on to Gordon MacPhail, Benromach. James, it feels like forever since we've done one of these, but really, in reality, it's probably only been a couple of months.
I know it feels good to be back. I did join some of the more recent ones because there's been some incredible lineups that I couldn't say no to. But now I get an actual microphone again. So thank you for having me back.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to show this to people, but you even busted out your fancy microphone just for the purpose of tonight's tasting.
I I know a lot of people's interactions with trolls online is probably pretty toxic. I'll take it as a win that my most toxic interactions with internet trolls has been people telling me my voice sounds garbled because my work
Whoa.
laptop truly is it's meh. So sorry if my IT team is watching, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess you can only do the best you can with what you're given. So, and
Which yeah, when I received my work laptop, it had someone's greasy fingerprints already on it. I was like, "Oh, welcome to the company." But we have really good whiskeys that
you
so
do have really
that
good
offsets
whiskeys.
it.
Yeah, I'd say throughout the portfolio, you've got really good whiskeys. So we're going to kick things off tonight with something a little fun. Um, I mean, James, I was actually surprised that this first whiskey didn't sell out instantly when it arrived. And I don't know, maybe it has now. I haven't been paying close attention. But just the geekiness of this was so attractive to me that I just was like, oh man, I don't care if it's good. I just can't wait to try it. And I just assumed, I think that everybody else would kind of look at it the same way, but I don't know if they have.
Yeah, I feel like so this contrast range was designed as a way for them to showcase some of the experiments that they were doing at Benromach. Which maybe we should just start by just kind of quickly. Should we say anything more about Benromach, Andrew? How deeply should we get into this?
Well, I think we should let people wrap their palates. Like, have a sip. Go ahead,
Yeah,
have a
okay.
sip. We're gonna ramble. I mean, I might come back to the nose in a minute, but
No, it
Slange,
just
cheers.
occurred to me all of a sudden that like going straight to maybe a distillery someone hasn't had before and going straight to their high enzyme release is a little bit like changing the oil of your vehicle before you even start it up the first time.
It's funny you mentioned oil because this has something of that viscous kind of Campbelltown,
Oh
Glen
wow.
Scotia oiliness to it.
Yeah, on the palate, this tastes exactly like a Campbelltown whiskey.
Yeah.
It has like
So,
a little funkiness to it as
Yeah.
well, like on the
well,
nose.
I think that's what we're getting at is that Campbellton funk. And then Glen Scotia in particular has that like engine oil note. And it's
Yes.
either clean or dirty engine oil. And in this case, I think the jury's out. Maybe an oil change is due in the near future, but this is not like has not been neglected thus far.
Well, maybe before we get into Benromach and people are tasting, we should tell people what high enzyme barley is, and it might explain
Yeah.
like how this even exists. So high enzyme barley is the ingredient that's used, I think, typically to make grain whiskey because, they need to use the enzyme to convert the starch into sugars in unmalted grains.
Well,
So
and
I
even with barley, James, like that malting process, you have to do that initial step because you cannot convert the starches to sugar from the barley even before you've done that malting process. So, yeah, the high enzymes, are crucial. And I think people don't even think about it. Even 100% corn whiskey, you need to use either industrial enzymes or put in, to your point, some malted barley just to get the whole process rolling.
Yeah, it's like a combination of that along with like some pretty intense heat processes to just to get it
Mhm.
started.
Mhm.
So,
But but essentially, this would be the type of barley that's mixed that they don't really talk about. They talk about grain whiskey, and in Scotland, typically wheat. This is what's mixed in with the wheat to get that fermentation process
yeah.
going.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this batch in particular was delivered to Gordon MacPhail and Ben Romick by accident, is what I
Mm,
understand. And they just
mhm,
decided to use it for a batch.
mhm.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have to assume then that it's unpeated. Benromach
Yes.
traditionally has that little touch of peat, but then where's that dirtiness coming from? Because there is a little bit of a dirtiness to
Yeah,
that.
that is a good question. I'm also
Clean.
curious what grain whiskey received that batch of peated malt destined for Ben Romick and just probably also just went ahead with it. We have to assume it's Loch Lomond, right?
Hmm.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, so talking about it, on the palate as well as the nose, I'm not sure if it's entirely peat, but I do get kind of a smokiness or a little bit of an earthiness to it.
Yeah.
So not knowing that this was going to be a batch of high enzyme barley, do you think they bothered to clean the stills and the spirit safe and
Yeah, that
all
might
the
make a
various
bit more
equipment
sense.
before filling?
Yeah. What's especially interesting is that some of the other unpeated releases that have come down the pipe, like the organic being the obvious, doesn't taste like this. Like it's much
Hmm.
cleaner.
Hmm. Yeah, it's so viscous, so oily.
Mhm.
So going back to that high enzyme thing, James, and we haven't talked about Ben Romick, and we'll get to it because there's two Ben Romicks at the end. So maybe we can circle back to
Yeah, that's fair.
11 on Ben Romick at the end. Um, do we have a sense of, and I'm not sure if this is something you talked about with Richard, do we have a sense of what high enzyme barley does to the wash, to that beer? Like, does it create a higher alcohol, lower alcohol, more protein? Do you have any idea about that?
No, I don't. And it's funny, I looked up, I tried to find some information and comments on this, and I think it definitely falls under the category of speculation. I even opened
Mhm.
up one or two textbooks hoping to like find a nugget, and I think the truth is that this kind of falls into that category of like old bottle effect where we all can kind of describe it, what's happening, but there's not like a vigorous or a rigorous kind of description that exists in the literature, perhaps. It's
Right.
more about just like how people feel and the anecdotal
Mhm.
type of work that people have. But
So,
I mean, if you have anything to add, I'm curious for sure.
well, James, being the expert that I am, I consulted AI and the internet as
Oh,
one does
yes.
today. And what does come up is that generally you get a higher sugar production. So I think it's fair to say that using this high enzyme barley, we'd probably get a little bit more sugar, which means probably a slightly higher alcohol yield per ton.
Mhm.
So we'd be getting a very different wash there. And, if you've got that higher alcohol, it begs the question, like, can that fermentation go on as long? Because as the alcohol gets higher, I know you start to kill off some of the yeast. And so maybe it's possible that you don't get quite as long and as fruity a fermentation from that high enzyme, but maybe you get a higher alcohol yield.
Yeah, and also like malts and sugars that remain unfermented.
I
Mhm.
was going to say that, like, did
So I
they
wonder if there's a
extend their
sweetness.
fermentation
Yeah,
or not extend it to make up for that sugar? And then
yeah,
this was
that's
the result of it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because especially if they're using the same yeast, that yeast would, you're right, it would be kind of tailored for a lower yield.
Right.
And
But we have to
yeah,
assume, I think, that Gordon MacPhail didn't do that. They just used their regular
yeah.
mix of brewers and distillers yeast, which is
Yeah, no,
already,
I think that is a safe assumption. That I can confirm with
yeah,
with their material. Yeah, I think
yeah.
what sticks with me here just kind of as the lingering thought is, why does this have the Campbelltowny funk that Benromach sometimes is accused of, but yet
Yeah,
other unpeated Benromachs do not? Like
yeah.
that, there's something kind of funny going on there, and whether that's the enzyme barley or something else, I mean, we might not
Mhm.
really know for sure.
Yeah. I think that's fair to say. And I think that peat, that little bit of peat, that little bit of smoke is probably coming from not cleaning the stills. I mean, the
Yeah.
vast majority of Benromach's production is that lightly peated profile.
Yes.
And,
Which the organic
just
is distilled right after cleaning, right?
mhm. And they do that
So
because they don't want any taint
totally.
from the peat.
Yeah.
But, they're not, just because they got a batch of Heinz and barley, I don't think that that would cause them to do a full cleaning
Hmm.
just to produce it. And, bin storage space is limited. They're not going to just like hold on to that until there's a suitable time. They're probably just going to work it into their production schedule. So I don't
This
know. I think
this
that,
whiskey makes me think too of, invariably some of the larger companies that are more maybe marketing driven in their product set, which clearly this like is not that way. But
mhm,
boy, is there an open door with a product like this to like take license and
mhm,
just kind of apply a story as you go to this. Like this whiskey
yeah.
would be like ripe for something like that.
Mhm. I really hope they actually left some of this to mature longer because, it's
I thought you were
fairly
going to say to
young.
sell as a Kensington Wine Market cask.
Oh, James, we would be more than happy to consider such an opportunity. But I was really thinking, like, I'd like to see what this distillate looks like in another 10 years because
Yeah, of course.
it could be that it's going to go really fruity and we just can't tell
Yeah,
yet. But right now it seems a little more tart, a little malty, and then that oiliness and funkiness is kind of really
yeah,
the main thing that I'm getting on it.
yep. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see. The Yeah, this contrast range in general, I don't think is necessarily something that you'll see forever.
Hmm.
My own personal feedback to Gordon MacPhail on this is that these so they haven't sold very well. They
Yeah.
just have been received okay, and I think that's kept the price so ludicrously low as it is.
Hmm.
But I, as funny as it sounds, they just need more prominent age statements on the label.
Right.
It would have made an enormous difference on how marketable they would have been.
Well, and James, to go back to something I've said many times before, the root of the problem there is maybe the Urquhart family being a little too humble about
Yeah,
everything.
honestly.
And yeah, it goes with a lot of things. They don't toot their horn enough. But I mean, this is a really cool release. I don't think, the contrast range are interesting because I think there's a similarity there to what, Dr. Bill Lumsden's done with Glenmorangie.
Of course. Yeah.
But I think a lot of those, while some of them are really fascinating, like I love the one where he took yeast from the barley in the field outside Glenmorangie House to make one of the releases that of the private collection
Yeah.
range. Most of those ones are pretty gimmicky. Like it's like,
Hmm.
let's do a Tokai finish. But there were some odd ones in there, including Signet, which is now
Yeah, they
stable in
pushed
their
it.
range,
Yeah.
where they pushed the envelope. And I think it's cool to see distilleries do this. I know Holyrood in Edinburgh did that, and hopefully they're able to keep doing that in the future. I mean, the future
Yeah.
of a lot of these little guys is pretty uncertain, but it's kind of cool to see people doing that, to see what you can achieve with different inputs and tweaking the recipe a little bit.
Yeah, the real challenge is going to be now in this market that is where you have to be a little bit more savvy in what you release is do some of those experiments make it to light? Some of them probably won't that would have.
Mhm.
And again, Benromach, I don't think you'll quite see this
Yeah,
erroneous of a contrast release in the future if I was to bet.
yeah. That's payment. Um, Kevin has weighed in the chat, James, saying that the barley has lower potential, so more barley would be needed for
Oh, so it's
same
the
sugar
opposite of
content.
what the AI said.
It is the opposite. And I think we know we can trust Kevin
Yeah.
because he's a dentist
Yeah.
and therefore more rooted in science than either you or I are. So
Yes.
we'll trust that. We won't try
I
to
do
fact check
technically have
that.
an engineering degree, but I certainly have not used it in many years.
Is it agricultural engineering?
Heck no.
Heck no. All right, let's dive into some Gordon MacPhail releases. We're going to kick off with one of the oldest tonight. Um, it is the Glen Grant 1998, which is a relatively recent arrival. It arrived earlier in the fall or late in the summer, depending on your perspective. Pop it up on screen for everybody here. 1998 vintage, 26 years, refill American oak hogshead, 49.9%. James, Glen Grant, Gordon MacPhail seems to bottle a lot of Glen Grants. It's kind of their
Yeah, I
thing.
think they still have a lot of Glen Grant right up until recent times. And when I say a lot, I mean like I think it's one of the biggest fills that they've done.
Mhm,
I even recall Richard even saying that they had like a lot still from the 50s and 60s still, as in like too
mhm.
much.
Yeah.
But but yeah, there's kind of like almost two different Gordon MacPhail Glen Grants. There's obviously those old beautiful transport sherry things like Mr. George, these ancient malts. But then a lot of these like 15 to 25-year-old Glen Grants that they've released that are just kind of fruity and citrusy and fun, they're also pretty delicious. But
Mhm.
it's a definitely a different style.
Um, yeah, this is a very spirit driven, like
Yeah,
a
kind
very
of
naked
unusually so
spirit
for
driven
a
one.
Gordon MacPhail.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think about it, like a lot of the young ones have been, we've seen more refill and a little bit more naked, but anything 30 plus years of age has been
Yeah.
typically in dark sherry. And you don't really get the spirit character there. But
Hmm.
yeah, this is fruity, almost to the point of being perfumed. There's like a
Yeah,
almost a
it's that like
cheesiness
underripe
to it.
mango.
And like waxed fruits too.
Yeah, even like straw, which is not something I get very often on a Gordon MacPhail release.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, it occurred to me the in the tastings of the last 2 weeks, of course, which had a lot of like very kind of naked old malts in them. That's not something that
Hmm.
is like super common from G&M because all the casks are first or second fill. Like they don't
Hmm.
have like old tired hogsheads lying around in their warehouse. That's not their business. But
No,
occasionally
no.
you do get something like this.
Well, and I think what we've seen is whiskeys like that Tomatin 1988, which is just incredibly
Yeah.
tropical. And it is still spirit driven, but it's only because it was in a first fill bourbon barrel that just wasn't overly active.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd be interested to know over the years how they treated bourbon barrels because even when those G&Ms are at 30 years of age, first fill ex bourbon, you're not like choking on oak, which you'd expect to be. So it begs the question, like, do they treat those differently? Are they rinsing those bourbon barrels
That's a
before
good
they
question.
fill them to maybe not get that same level of char?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of those great Glenlivets that were also ex-bourbon. And, again, they can get very creamy, very rich, but they rarely, if ever, go into that like bitter, over extracted territory.
Yeah. Well, I think the next one is going to be a bit of a contrast in that regard, in that they, in theory, should be closer in style maybe than they are.
Mhm. Well, I don't want to segue off this too quickly.
Okay.
Harmony, any thoughts you want to share on this one before we roll?
Well, I was I agree with a lot of James's notes, like a lot of like austere, straw, new spirit almost vibe,
There's a big but
very
coming.
dry. Yeah, it does have some nice fruit notes. But I mean, Glen Grant, what I like about Glen Grant is it can be so many things. Um, and I enjoy it, especially around this age or sometimes a little older. We've seen it get very tropical. This isn't quite in that tropical note, but it's a fine spirit. That's all,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
love
really, we
it.
don't know what these Glen Grants taste like at 30, 40 years old because, it is a different spirit than
Mhm.
Mhm.
those like 70s and older. Yeah, what's the inflection point? Was the renovation,
Yeah.
right? Was that 70, sometime in the mid 70s, I think, at Glen Grant?
Well, we'll have to find a moment
Yeah,
here to
there's
ask
usually
AI.
someone on the call on these tastings that like knows the exact date right off the top of their head.
Yeah. I I think I was hoping it was going to be a little bit more fruit forward and
Eight,
honeyed, but maybe
James, this is an interesting
different.
date, 1967.
Is it?
Yeah. So well before this,
Yeah.
around the time of uh, that Glenburgie Gordon MacPhail that we've got kicking around in the
Yeah.
market. Um, so that probably isn't a good explainer in there, but it is when they would have put in that spirit purifier. So what's
Yeah, that's what
interesting
I'm
to me is like
specifically referring to.
how thick and viscous this is, despite the fact that they have a spirit purifier, which you think would kind of thin some of that out. If only
Yeah.
we could ask the father of Alex's great grandmother, who was the still master of Glen Grant in the 1860s and 1870s. Facts
Yeah.
for the chat.
I
Well,
may or
shall we
may
move
not
on?
know someone who I think they're just confused and they sometimes refer to the Urquharts as Farquhar, which is that also a Scottish last name?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I feel better
Um,
about it now.
maybe one is a subclan of the other. There's a lot of
Yeah.
subclans. Um, but
I
we
think in
won't
this
dive into
person's
them.
case, they're referring to the noble character in the Shrek movies,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't know how fresh that is in
I
your
believe
memory, Andrew.
I believe that's Farquaad, though, if we're being specific.
Wow.
Lord
Maybe.
Farquad
Farquaad.
with a D.
Yeah.
Farquaad? I thought
That
it
might
was
just be the
Farquaad,
accent,
which sounds more like he's a
I
he's a
know what you.
twit kind of thing,
right?
or
Yeah.
worse. But all right, BenRiach it is. On to the BenRiach. So one vintage older, 1997, still 26 years, refill American oak, 55.7%. So this is a rebuilt Hoggy. This is not well, I guess it raises the question, is it an American oak ex bourbon hogshead or a refill American oak sherry hogshead? Because that's not specified.
Yeah. I mean, my
My
guess would be that it is ex-bourbon,
yeah,
but we may not ever really know.
yeah.
Definitely right off the
The
bat, I'm getting
interesting,
just more wood influence than the Glen Grant.
yeah.
It's just a little bit more buttery and creamy.
There's also a tartness to it.
Yeah.
Like lemon tarts. Like there's this bright kind of lemon custard tart and maybe a bit of like bitter orange peel.
Yeah, like it's almost spritzy in your nose like a Linkwood would be.
Yeah. Kind of like if you were to open a pack of Starburst candies from like the early 80s.
There is a definite distinct like bubble gum out of a card pack, like an OPC
Yeah.
bubblegum kind of note on the nose.
The kind that after 20, 30 years, when you open it and try to put the gum in your mouth, it actually breaks into shards and cuts the roof of your mouth
Yeah.
because it's so stale. But I mean, that's what it's like. This is like, I think if there's such a thing as, and maybe the shelf life is forever, I don't know. Like 30-year-old Starburst fruit candies.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. Well, you know what else I think, Andrew, is that, and that's probably true of both of these. This to me is a candidate for a whiskey that, if left on the shelf long enough, is going to get like very, very fruity.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's going to just take time to get there. Do you know
Little
what I mean
bottle
by that?
needs some, yeah, needs some bottle effect.
Yeah, it does. Like it just needs to kind of settle down a bit.
It's still very malty, especially on the palate. And
Yeah.
after 26 years, yeah, I think I know what you're saying. It's kind of tightly wound.
Hmm.
Um,
It reminds
it
me of apple juice a little bit. Like,
Yeah, like not the like the processed cooked stuff, but more just like a fresh squeezed.
yeah,
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Andrew, are you able to share the web on this, BenRiach?
I am.
Like the
Did I not put it
page?
up?
Mhm.
It's
Well,
possible
if
that I
someone
didn't.
was asking you like what's the difference between a modern Glen Grant and BenRiach, probably what I would reach for is like, well, the BenRiach probably is a little bit kind of little bit richer in malt and a little bit kind of riper in its fruit, maybe is
Hmm.
how I would probably describe it. And that kind of holds
Okay.
up in this comparison.
Mhm.
Right. I always think that
Hmm.
BenRiach and Longmorn and Glenelgin all kind of share that characteristic
Hmm.
where they're
Yeah.
fruity space ciders, but they have a little bit more of a malty backbone to them.
Hmm.
I'm just Googling something here because
Are you learning about Scottish clans right now, Andrew, in the background?
I I'm not. I'm really trying not to really trying to focus on it. Um, in the so you know the other thing that's interesting about this, James, is that this would be probably still floor malted barley at BenRiach. So
Right.
the maltings were decommissioned, and that's what I was actually fact checking myself on was that they decommissioned them in the late 90s. Um, but yeah, 1998, the floor malt, or sorry, yeah, in this time, 1997, the maltings would have still been in process. So
Yeah.
probably very likely that this is floor malted barley. Like it does have
Yeah,
I
knowing
mean, you can
Gordon
almost
MacPhail
with
too, like I feel like they would purposely seek that out.
they would specify it. Yeah.
Yeah, like if
Because I
you look
mean,
at, if you track Gordon MacPhail releases, like they have a lot of late 90s BenRiachs, and it's interesting because
mhm,
their BenRiach fills go right into the Billy Walker era. Like it kind of goes unbroken.
mhm,
So I think we'll
yeah.
continue to see like
Well,
a
and this is
decent
a
amount of BenRiachs come down the pipe.
well, this would have been in a period when BenRiach, before Billy bought it, was keen to
Yeah.
sell stock because it was just before they closed it and then sold it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I don't
yeah,
know.
I
That's
think
these both of these whiskeys have been pretty delicious for my palate.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very honey, nutty, lots of bright fruit. But I think you're right. I think this will like open up and become more expressive with time in the bottle.
Yeah. Yeah, the speed round might be friendly to this BenRiach.
Hmm. Harmony, any thoughts on it before we sally forth to the Aberfeldy? Or as one customer once called it, Aberdelphi.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
By the way, do you ever compare the G&M tasting notes official to what's in the bottle? I feel like
Yes.
they're remarkably accurate over time. Like this one has some great stuff. It's grapefruit zest, mango, pineapple, mixed nuts,
Oh,
and
oh,
a touch of crystallized violet.
oh.
Well, we mentioned all of those things except for the
Yeah.
crystallized violet.
Well, I think crystallized violet sometimes is in that same family as like the candies, bubblegum, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They didn't get the 30-year-old Starburst fruit candies though.
No, I'm not gonna lie. The when I met the guy that does the tasting notes in the lab, I gave him a coffee crisp bar, and I specifically asked him to try to use that note on a Canadian release, but
Yeah,
I still have yet to see it. I feel like this is going
yeah.
to be one of those things where it's going to take like 10 coffee crisp bars from three different people over a decade to make this happen.
Hmm. I similarly, well over a decade ago, tried many times to insert color references to loonies in the Scotch
Nice.
Malt Whiskey Society. But best I can tell, it failed miserably.
Yeah. Ironically, you have a cask coming that Milton Duff that tastes very coffee crispy, but
Oh
I can
yeah,
confirm it is not on the label.
Oh, do we
it's a
need to
good
buy like a
segue.
box of mini like coffee crisps and just send it to the warehouse for when they're
Yeah,
sampling
ideally it
Hmm.
to
would be like
fresh
a
them?
box every week for like months and months and months that just keep arriving.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, that was quite tasty. Harmony, I
Yeah.
don't know if I interrupted you. Did you have anything more to say about the BenRiach? No? All right.
no, no, I don't think so. Um,
Okay. Um, some of you might have been expecting a tomatin in tonight's tasting, but because I forgot to order it repeatedly, we subbed it out with an Aberfeldy just to get the lineup in boxes and out the door in time for the tasting tonight. So we'll have to see how
mhm.
that worked out.
Yeah,
That
I got a
tomatin
little
very likely
zealous
will
bringing
appear
in
in a future
new
tasting.
bottlings this fall.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then we
but
might have to also address the possible like the typo on the label on your bottle versus what the
Yeah.
link might be. We'll find out.
oh, we'll find out.
Things
Well,
happen really fast. I'm trying to snap, but I can't really fast at work, and we make mistakes.
yeah.
So
Well,
could
I
be.
mean, he didn't spell it Aberdelphi, so that's a plus.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But we'll find out if that vintage is right. Either way, the website will be right.
Yeah. So I'll put it up on stock here. This is a refill sherry hogshead matured Aberfeldy, 14 years old, 2009 vintage, 55.4%. I think what we put on there for the ABV. No, it's correct. So the bottle is probably right. It's just the description where we said we were going to do a tomatin.
Yeah.
That's wrong. So
Maybe I
Aberfeldy,
should explain too, Andrew. I'm at fault for this sometimes because often when we get offered new releases of Gordon MacPhail, we are offered sister casts for North America of releases that are also releasing in either the UK or Europe. And so sometimes there'll be like three almost identical casks, and like two of them are 15 years old. One is 16, one is
yeah.
55.4, but the other one's 55.5. And this kind of stuff happens all the time. And then I will request bottle shots from them and I get sent the wrong ones,
Mhm.
or I try to Photoshop one to make it correct. I I, I sometimes get way too deep trying to sort through these bottlings. So this
And
could be guilty of that.
well, I don't think we need to worry about that. I think we've got something that smells quite enticing, a very
Yeah.
sherry, like fairly heavily sherried refill cask, which is interesting, and a distillery that we don't see bottled very often independently. And a big part of that is because I think it was 1999, it was acquired by Bacardi. They probably traded casks until about a decade ago, but then they decided to roll out their own single malt line and have been promoting it. And I would expect they've probably not been selling a lot of Aberfeldy to people in recent years.
No, I mean,
But
I think it probably helps that the
regardless,
distillery is in a very accessible, tourist-friendly location. And it says, doesn't it say
yeah,
Dewar's World of Whiskey in like big sign on the roof?
yes, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
kind of recall
charming
that.
spot. It's a beautiful little glen that it's tucked into. I think about 10 kilometers off the A9, maybe not
Yeah.
even that far. And there's a lovely lake just up the road from it. It's a very bucolic spot. But yes, the distillery is all about doers. When you go in there, they've got a museum dedicated to the Dewar's blend. And Aberfeldy kind of seems to be second fiddle, like the single malt, when it comes to the blend.
Yeah. Well,
Might be
it's
power
hard
of
not to think
suggestion.
right now of the Dewar's 21-year-old, that
Mm,
375 release that's been kind of ubiquitous in the market in the
Yeah,
last 2 years. Because man, does
mhm.
this ever taste like that?
it does.
Well, the nose, James, is power of suggestion got some coffee crisp on it.
Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
really does.
Yeah, yeah. Lots of like, I don't know, lots of nuttiness and that fruit cake like all over it. Nice chocolate on the finish too. That's very
Yeah.
nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, just a really, really good active sherry cask, clearly.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting thought. What is the Aberfeldy distillate? Because most of what we get from the producer is usually got some sherry in it. I mean, obviously Gordon MacPhail's got sherry in it, but Aberfeldy's those distilleries that I don't know what the distillate core
Well, think about all
profile
their
is.
marketing, Andrew. What's the creature that features prominently on all their marketing?
Is it a
And think
B?
about think back to when Georgie Bell was their brand
Uh,
ambassador, and she always used to promote this in her social media. The bee.
mm,
The bee on it?
yeah.
Yeah, they try to liken it to the flavor of honey.
I don't see
Mhm.
that anywhere. I see houses. Hmm.
Look harder. Keep looking.
Yeah.
Um,
They're really little.
They're teeny tiny little bees.
James, we were sort of talking about this before, and maybe it's possibly a bit of narcissism on my part, but mostly just ADD. I don't think I could watch most people's social media posts long enough to get to the part where they're like, the key profile note is honey.
Right.
They
Well, I
already
think the reason
lost
I
me.
was watching it
I've
is,
already moved on.
yeah. See, I'm always curious, like, I sometimes live vicariously through brand ambassadors that have big budgets because truthfully,
Right.
I don't want to live that life where it's like white tablecloth dinners every single night. But it's
Mhm.
kind of fun to see like what people that have like tens of thousands to spend on marketing, what they do. And so Georgie just fell in that category, right?
Yeah.
Because she was like the global Doers brand ambassador.
Although I will give her credit, I did observe enough to see that she was going around the world and pouring that 51 euro, I think they
Yeah,
had for free
yeah. The
at
Craig
various
Ellicky.
places. Now, she did not come to Canada with it, so that is one thing I will say that she didn't do.
I did notice
But
that.
yeah, but she did it didn't seem to be she wasn't going to pour it for like the toffs and the great and the good. She was going to pour it for people who genuinely were into whiskey and that this was something that probably they would never buy, but
Yeah.
it was an opportunity for them to try something really rare, which is cool.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
it's a very light, clean profile. It's a little floral. I mean, I'm guessing because we've got this like Gordon MacPhail rich sherry layered on top of it, but it's still very light and very approachable.
Yeah, it feels like the spirit is just kind of just barely hanging on, but it is there. It's not totally drenched
Mhm,
in sherry, which is nice. I mean,
mhm.
it's pretty pleasant glass of whiskey.
Hmm.
It's very pleasant.
Like it's just very easy to drink.
Yeah, it's nice.
Here's a question for both of you. If you were poured this blind and had to guess which distillery it was from, what would you have guessed?
I would 100% guess Glenallachie
Okay.
because I
Harmon?
would
I
assume someone was pouring me a Glenallachie single cask.
I
Okay.
could see that.
But that's
I almost thought like Speyburn maybe. I know it's a
Yeah.
bit bigger, but
hmm,
it's that sherry
yeah.
profile for me.
It's not as like
For,
upfront fruity as Glenallachie, but the sherry profile is so bang on for a Billy style.
No idea.
um,
You?
to me,
Answer?
it's Aaron. It
Yeah,
like this kind of screams of Aaron because it's malty, that honey note, which I get in Aaron as well. And then that like light background citrus. The only thing that's missing is that little hint of like coastal sea salt.
yeah,
But
it's not salty at all. That's a good point.
this reminds me of Aaron. Like this is like a great 13, 14, 15-year-old Aaron, which are almost always in sherry hogsheads
Yeah.
when they're sherried, very seldom in butts.
Yeah,
Um,
and similarly, very rarely gets overwhelmed by it,
mhm.
Mm.
even though it's a lighter spirit.
It's funny, as you were explaining this as sherry, I wasn't paying attention totally, just listening, and I totally got salted chocolate on the end. I'm like, oh, I could see the little, and then you're like, not salted. I'm like, oh, maybe
Mhm.
not. Just thinking about Aaron, but
Well,
very nice.
you're never that far from the ocean in Scotland, so um, you could probably get a little bit of salt just about anywhere. Tom said corn syrup. Um, Sammy, one of the Worm Tub distilleries. Uh, yeah, I think that Aberfeldy, it's nice. To be honest, it's better than I expected it was going to be. I don't know. I don't think I had any expectations for it because it's so rare that we try any Aberfeldy other than the distillery bottlings. And not that they're not good, but all the distillery bottlings are low ABV, so I'm generally not that
Yeah,
excited
I
about
haven't
it.
had a Gordon MacPhail since 2020 when we had a you
Hmm.
might remember this one. It was a 21-year-old refill
Hmm.
bourbon barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, quite nice. And I think at the strength, like that drinks really well for 55%. So
Yeah,
a
agreed.
nice bottle.
Hmm.
We don't have a lot of that in store, but I do believe there is still some
Yeah, there's one or two
available
cases
and or
still.
yeah, or coming.
Yeah,
So if you like that, there's still some stock. Shall we move on to the Linkwood?
let's do it.
It's almost not a Gordon MacPhail tasting if you don't have a Linkwood or a Mortlach in it, or both.
I know when I ordered this, Andrew, that's what I thought is that we had just kind of ran out of that 1995 27-year-old Linkwood, and everybody
Mhm.
loved that. It was a sherry bomb, but it still had that like zesty Linkwood character. And I thought, oh man, there's so many Linkwoods. I don't need another 2002 Linkwood. But then it was like the guy on the other side of the shoulder was like
Yay.
poking the first one with his pitchfork, being like, "You idiot!
Mhm.
Order the Linkwood. There needs to be
Mhm.
Linkwoods around from Gordon MacPhail."
There are, but James, I think, oh no, maybe the Linkwood was good. It was either a Linkwood or a Longmorn from the 90s that was in recently that I was not a big fan.
Yeah, the '96
I found
Longmorn.
it, yeah, it was like just way too meaty, like
Yeah,
unnecessarily meaty.
I will recall
Um,
that Evan and I both placed it first in the tasting that it was in, and
yeah,
it was
of
not in your
course.
top three.
No, it was probably my number seven. It was probably my
Yeah.
least favorite whiskey in the whole lineup. All right, what can we tell you about this 2002 Linkwood? Uh, 23 years, first fill sherry hogshead, bottled 54.7%. So,
Yeah, that's a nice strength.
man, it's
Yeah, and
uh,
admittedly, there is a Canada exclusive distillery labels, Cask Strength offering coming next year. So there's
mhm.
the Linkwood's not going to slow down.
Well, they have a fair bit of it, I believe.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
This has got
That
this like,
nose,
I was gonna say it
go.
has like a chewy, like molasses ginger snap cookie note for me.
Lots of like dried fruit, like almost going more into like the prune and the
Mhm.
like usually I anticipate a little bit more of a zestier, bright quality, but I wonder if the
Mhm.
three whiskeys before that have kind of like it's weird that the Linkwood is the richest of them. Four before that, really? Yeah, good point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just making sure you're keeping up on your math. I'm usually the one
Oh, I
who's
was
like
talking
got
about
the
the
numbers
CC
off. So,
specifically, but
right. Um, well, it has that character that I always get in Linkwood. It's that kind of uplifted, pillowy, floral kind of body to it that somehow that the distillate, regardless of whether it's in bourbon or sherry, just has this like kind of fluffy softness to it that I love, even when it's a big sherry bomb. And I think I get a bit of both of what you're saying. Like Harmony, my dad used to love those old hard ginger snaps that you really have to soak in milk before you can eat them because
totally.
otherwise they're just too hard. But I also get the dried fruits. I think I'm also getting like a slightly more tropical note coming
Mm.
underneath it as well. Like there's a lot going on in this nose.
Yeah, it's very complex. I was going to say another thing that I don't usually associate positively, but it kind of melds well is there's a little bit of a dirty dunnage, kind of earthy quality on the
Mhm.
nose as well.
I think that's the sherry.
James,
A little bit like
James, we
funky
always
bull.
like those. slightly edgy tasting notes. All about them.
Yeah. I know. It usually, interestingly, usually when I come out with those notes, they're wine related, but this time it was not. That to me is a distinctly like Dunnage warehouse smell.
Mhm.
When it's almost like, you know what, maybe there's a cask over there that there's like a weird fungus growing on the outside of, but a little bit is good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's okay. It
Yeah,
works.
it's almost, I mean, it's almost got a bit of like fresh manure on the nose too.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah,
that
kind of the
kind of
same
earthiness.
family.
Yeah.
That's too edgy. No, I'm just kidding.
To Well, I didn't say fecal matter, Harmony. I said manure. It's an
Thank
agriculture,
you.
it's an agricultural
It's
byproduct.
Yeah.
okay.
They
It's a
use
fun
it.
contrast on the palate comparing this Aberfeldy and Linkwood. Like
Mhm.
the Aberfeldy finish is like quite decadent and chocolatey, and it kind of just like, whereas that Linkwood character, that zestiness, it's totally present here. Like it gives you that
Mhm.
lifted, clean, refreshing, kind of like brings you back to the glass.
Mhm.
Was trying to figure out if this was like modern sherry or old school. I think it leans more modern, but it's
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
lovely, nice chocolate tones. The spices, tobacco, licorice notes towards the back of the palate and the finish are quite nice. This is just a really lovely, kind of more modern style sherry whiskey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
David's mentioning that mustiness too. One of the things I've learned over the years is when you get these sherry casks that are slightly musty, sometimes that's like the first thing that disappears when the
Mhm.
bottle's been on your shelf for a month. And it's kind of
Mhm.
sad when it goes away.
Yeah. And if I might add, what do they use to grow mushrooms?
Fecal matter? No, the
No,
other byproduct.
no, manure, not fecal. I mean, technically, they're sort of the same thing.
Uh,
They're
Just messing with
you are
you.
really
animal
splitting
waste.
hairs.
We are
Ah,
splitting hairs here.
because I can.
Yeah.
This would not be the first tasting Kensington's done where there's been a reference to poo in the tasting. I mean,
Well, is
scents
there?
and tastes and all these things are what they are. You just call them as they are.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
how it is. Um, Anything more to say about this Linkwood before we move on to what's next?
I mean, it's exactly
Glenburgie.
what you hope. If you bought a 20-year-old sherried Linkwood that said Gordon MacPhail and it didn't taste like this, I think you'd be
Hmm.
disappointed. Like this just it hits
Hmm.
all the boxes.
Yeah, I'm glad we tried this because I like Gordon MacPhail, but I wasn't impressed with the last distillery labels release of Linkwood.
Mhm.
It was a
There
little,
is batch variation.
oh, big time, big
Yeah.
time. I, this is nice. Um,
Are you gonna take that up with Richard next time you see him?
I might. No.
Um,
Probably not.
just just joking. Let's
You need
move on
Richard's
to the
brother for that topic.
Right. I might
I'd be
ask,
like,
like, can we get
well,
a Kensington Linkwood cask maybe
Yeah.
next for
James, you know what we could do? We could like bring a sample of that Longmorn to him and then put him on the spot and just say, I would just say, why? He was probably on he was probably on vacation that week. It was
Yeah.
probably the tasting notes guy.
Yeah.
Okay, Glenburgie 2008. I'm interested to see why this is behind the Linkwood. Oh, I can see
Yeah,
why right
I
after
would
nosing
also
it.
place this. You're going to see why
alcohol?
shortly. It's a
Yeah.
bit beasty.
No,
Mm,
it's thick. I
it is.
verging
Yeah.
on the edge of being dumpy, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
syrupy.
Oh,
So
big
Yeah, it almost has that
2008,
like animalistic quality on the nose too, like almost like sweaty horse a little bit.
right. That's more of an Ardmore quality, but we probably don't need to go there. 16 years, first fill sherry hogshead, 57.5%. Another of the distilleries that we've seen a lot of from Gordon MacPhail, Kensington has bottled one. We have a second on the way, though it's going to be nothing like this one. It's
Yeah, I was going to say your Glenburgie could
polar
not be
opposite.
more different than this Glenburgie.
Yeah.
It's like the most delicate, naked ex-bourbon citrusy, and then
Mhm.
this thing is
Oh
just a
man,
big
it's
old muddy
huge.
boot.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, since we're on the subject of it, this one's quite poopy on the nose too. Like there's a lot of like mushroom notes. It's earthy. Smells like a root cellar kind of
It's very
note.
Moorish, right? Like it
Hmm.
almost reminds me of when like you're cooking stew and you kind of like lean into the pot and you kind of get that like hot steam
Yeah,
and it's like vegetal, but it's just like so like just makes
Mm.
your mouth water. That's what this smells like to me.
totally.
Yeah, it's quite beefy.
I mean, it's always
Oh, get
remarkable how
over.
this range of smells can be so pleasant in whiskey.
Right.
On the nose, it's verging on the edge of like too much. It's like
Mhm.
that dumpy, but it's yeah, that like beef stew
Yeah.
note. If it was beef stew, but you also threw in like prunes and plums into that same
Yeah,
stew.
it's
Well, there's
wild.
some maple syrup in there too on
Oh
the
yeah.
palate. Like
Yeah,
there's a nice sweetness. It's
it is
syrupy.
very assertive.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Like not this is not how I would describe Glenburgie normally.
At all.
No,
Like not at all.
No.
but it hasn't
Like to be
crossed the
honest, this is
line.
more
Like
what I
it's,
associate with Milton Duff in character,
Mm.
where it's like a little
mm,
bit more grippy and kind of firm on the palate.
hmm
Maybe they got
hmm
mixed up.
Hmm.
quite
Interesting.
nutty and leathery. Firm spice. Again, very modern sherry
Yeah.
profile, but it's good.
Is it too far for
I
you?
think no, no, it's not too far from me. I don't know that this is the kind of whiskey that I would want more than a dram of.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Or you know what, Andrew? I would if someone bought this and I was at the till ringing them through, I would say, you know what? Add a little bit of water to this guy.
Mhm.
mm,
Yeah.
Like you're not crazy to do that with this whiskey.
Yeah,
mm.
it's big.
Just settle it down,
Yeah. Like
Put a leash on
drinking.
it.
Well, like, would it benefit though, just from oxidation? I wonder. Like, I don't know. Like, would it change halfway through the bottle
Well, I think what you mean by that, Harmony, is does the ABV drop 2% by sitting open long enough?
if you leave the cork out,
Well,
maybe?
Yeah.
it's put it this way. Mine's been poured for an hour, and if it hasn't settled down in an hour, like it's going to
No,
take a lot longer.
no.
Yeah, it's true.
It's warm, but it's not hot. Like there's no
Mhm.
sharp, rough edges to it.
Yeah.
Like it's good distillate, good sherry cask. Um, I mean, I think the biggest knock for me on it is just it's just not my style. I don't like kind of young, syrupy sherry. Like it's just not my jam. But it's
This
good.
isn't. This also isn't typically how I think of Glenburgie.
No, not at all.
I'll be
You
back in
know,
a
you know
sec.
how this
Surprised
feels in the
me.
tasting? You know when you're watching a hockey game and there's like an extended period where the announcer kind of isn't talking, the play-by-play is quiet, and all you hear is like the sound of the skates and like the kind of buzz of the crowd, and then all of a sudden the hot mics on the ice level pick up just a big ol' F-bomb. That's what this whiskey is.
You had me
Just
at
like
F
right in
bomb.
the middle.
That's
All
funny.
right. Well, Chris Walker likes it. I think he would normally say it's in his top eight whiskeys, but
Yeah.
I think we're going back to Benromach territory
Well, I'm
here,
just glad that
unless
it
you guys
doesn't
have
go
anything
over the edge
else.
into weird.
Mm. Well,
Unlike
it's
a
no
certain Balmenic.
2009 Bunnahabhain.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that
Both
Balmenic.
that Buna and that Balmenic kind of almost crossed the line.
That Belminic
Ah,
crossed many lines. I
yeah,
would
the
ask him, like,
Balmenic was on the wrong side of the line.
Yeah,
yeah,
that
if he's
Balmenic is if the hot mic picked
Absolutely.
up like a word even more foul than the F word.
when I see
Yeah.
any of the Urquharts, I will be asking why for that one.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have to ask them. I think you actually have to point your finger at Mike Breezeboy on that one.
Right? But I mean, they bottled it to begin with. I already asked Mike
He
why.
specifically asked for cast samples that were weird,
Yeah, he would.
Yeah,
and we provided them.
You nailed it.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but that one, correct me if I'm wrong, James. That one was sent to us beforehand,
Yeah,
and
but no, I only
I
sent it
opened
to
it.
you as I knew you wouldn't like it at all. Like I put it in there as a ringer.
Makes everything
I
else
didn't
look
even
better.
want to taste it.
No, I knew you wouldn't. I mean, I always go through and screen the samples when they arrive, and that one I was just like, I just kind of stared at the glass for like 30 seconds in disbelief.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it just,
Well,
yeah, I mean, it tastes like the balsamic vinegar that is like in the glass case at the deli,
yeah.
which is not a whiskey note that I've gotten anywhere else ever.
I
Right.
it to me it would be like a Caspian Sea caviar factory that's gone bad. Like you can work what you want into that, like what like moving pieces combine to create that picture, but it
Yeah.
just was not, it was not bueno. Now,
Mm.
we haven't really talked much about Benromach, but we started with the Benromach. I
Yeah,
love
is this a
Benromach. I think
Benromach tasting or a GNM tasting? I'm not even sure anymore.
it's kind of both
Jointly owned.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
neither at the same time. It's a discussion of agricultural techniques involving animal waste.
Yep.
Um,
Maybe.
but I mean, the nose on this Benromach Cask Strength for a 10-year-old-ish whiskey
Yeah.
is lovely. It's soft. It's so approachable. And I think a lot of this goes back to just how good a job they do making Benromach. And I know I say this a lot, but it really stuns me how well made their distillate is, you know, the fact that they're, and whenever a lot of people in the industry say they're using the best oak, and I like to say that's only true if their oak policy is as good as Gordon MacPhail's, because this is 10-year-old whiskey, cask
Well,
strength. It should
technically
be
it's better.
rough. It should be hot.
The nose on
But
this
it's
to me
not
is
like
spectacular. Like it is just so
Hmm.
welcoming.
there's nice
Yeah,
layers
that
to it.
is.
There's a faint trace of peat, but it's like very mild. You're
Yeah.
getting a nice mix of both like the vanilla and honey notes you'd expect from American oak, along with a bit of like candied fruit that you'd expect presumably from some sherry.
Yeah.
There's just a lot going on a young
Yeah, there is a lot going
cask
on.
strength whiskey.
People always ask me if the cast strengths hold up to that old 100 proof. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of it is that 100 proof had that like really just wonderful complex nose. And this
Oh,
this is very reminiscent of that one to me. You probably remember
oh,
that old 100 proof,
and
and
I think
I
I have a
do,
bottle
but I
somewhere.
mean
there's still Dusty's in Calgary
Mm.
of that
Yeah.
product.
Really?
this
Oh yeah.
This has a great, like, it's like prosciutto
Yeah,
kind
there is
of
some
look
cured meat on
to
the
it.
nose for sure.
It's very nice. Yeah.
Like salted ham. It is very salty.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's great.
this is like Campbellton whiskey again. Like this
Yeah,
is
totally.
very much like long roast style, moderately peated. Like the peat in this comes across much stronger than I was expecting it to. And
Mhm.
just the mouthfeel, the texture of it, very reminiscent of like somewhere between Springbank and Longrow on the flavor
Yeah. I
profile
know
spectrum.
it always please
Uh,
tell me, Andrew, that my screen froze in an awkward pose.
yeah, it did. I don't know what happened there. It's here, James. You'll have to unmute. Well, here I probably have to go back and make you co-host again. But
That's fine.
um, yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Oh,
It
well,
just
I'll tell
stopped.
you
I
what
assumed
happened. When you say Springbank, it causes your computer to freeze.
because it just gets.
Allegedly.
You know what? I had the same effect every time they'd release a new whiskey. It would prompt me to like start like feeling stress because I knew the emails were going to start coming and there would never be enough. But what are you going to do? Anyway, we're back.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? We were talking about how good Ben
Well,
Romick
yeah,
was.
we were comparing that Benromach to various Campbelltown whiskeys. I think my comment was something to the effect of, if you're chasing that like 12-year-old cast strength, then you can just kind of go and get this anytime for basically $100.
Mhm. 100%. And
Yeah.
I mean, this is such great distillate. The peat on it, I think, is more bold than I think you would normally expect for a
Yeah.
10-year-old Ben Romick, but part of that could be the cast strength. It's just that concentration of it. Um,
Yeah. I mean,
a
this to
great
me, their
whiskey.
core range, this is the best product by like a mile.
Well, and I think that's
Sorry if
saying a
they're
lot, but
listening and disagree, but
because the 10 and the 15 are such good value as
yeah.
they are. Um, but yeah, wow, I'm blown away by that. I mean, we had a
Yeah, I
great
am
range
too.
of
This is a good showing.
six whiskeys up to that, and I'm surprised by how well that's showing. Even knowing how much I like, knowing Gordon MacPhail, knowing Benromach, knowing how good it is, really impressed by that.
Yeah. Yeah, just expertly blended too.
Hmm. Harmony, anything to add on that, or speculation on the reason for the Zoom failure?
No, my dog just cleared the air with his own
Oh,
air here.
nice. Yeah, that's called
Apparently,
caring. Sharing is caring, Harmony.
it's rude.
Yeah. And still on topic. I mean, we've been talking a lot about all things
Manure?
digestive. Yeah.
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 So there we go. Uh,
By the way, that Benromach is 60% and it does not need water.
it's no, it's not.
It's
No.
It does
crazy.
not need water at all.
I
That
poured
is
this in
it's
a
dangerous.
tasting on Friday, and everybody was just shocked by it and loved it. And then when I told them the ABV, they didn't believe me. They actually several
Mhm.
people got up and went to the bottle to check that I wasn't
Mm.
lying.
Yeah, man, what a banger.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
like it
remember
more.
if
The
I
13, by the way, last year was the one that was 100% sherry casks. Kind of snuck under the
wow.
radar a little bit that was true, but I like this 14 more personally.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great trend. All right,
Yeah.
one last one, and then we need to make our way into the speed round. So
Okay.
we have technically featured this once before, but kind of felt like, we rolled this out, I think late
Yeah, this is
spring.
kind of the tasting lineup that it deserved to be in.
Yeah, it
I
didn't
mean, not
get
that
the
it was a
best
bad lineup
showing.
before, but it's more with its
No.
peers now.
Well, and I think given what we just said about the last whiskey, I mean, you're probably going to see some similarities here because I've compared this to like old Long Row and to a certain extent old Springbank bottlings too. And I think I get that again
Oh
on the
yeah.
nose. There's something that reminds me a little bit of Fernet Branca on the nose.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, it has some very interesting like herbaceousness to it.
Hmm.
But man, just lovely fruit.
And the sherry, like the nice thing about the
Yeah.
sherry on this is that uh, it's it's fairly bold, but it's yielding at the same time. Those leather tobacco tones are there.
It's got great viscosity as well as some of the other drams we've had. It just coats your mouth. I love it.
Oh man.
Oh,
Delish.
I gotta be honest, Andrew, when
I
I
mean,
first tried the cast sample, I wasn't quite sure about this, and I think it was because I thought that it didn't have enough sherry influence and that it might come
mhm,
across a bit too stark and raw. But
yeah.
holy, I mean that's unbelievable stuff.
But it's James, this is that old school style
Yeah,
sherry.
it's
So
very old school.
it's so soft, it's so subtle. So the interesting thing here is the closest current whiskey that we have in the shop to this is actually our Barry's Orkney malt, the
Yeah,
99,
totally.
because they both
Yeah.
have that soft chocolate milk, Christmas cake, and then
Mhm.
fading into tropical fruit. The smoke on this is a little firmer, but it reminds me of like some of the first batches of Long Row 18 that came out.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean later batches of Long Row 18 got more kind of assertive with the smoke and with that
Mhm.
like especially like sometimes they even would have a bit of that burnt rubbery ledging the last couple batches.
Well, and even the
But
sherry is
this
a bit
is just clean.
spicier. Yeah.
Yeah, there's almost
Old school sherry.
like overripe plum.
Man.
There's just some really cool notes in here.
Hmm.
Man, what a
After
way to
eight
end
dinner
this
mints.
tasting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Lots of fun
Makes a great
notes.
one.
Harmony?
Yeah.
It's great. The finish is awesome, as you said, as it starts to go tropical. For me, it's like
Hmm.
all that tropical fruit is like dusted in a nice like cinnamon and ginger kind of toasting and dusting, and it's really fantastic. I'm happy. I've had this now twice in 5 days. Quite happy with the experience.
The one caveat with these Benromach casks is, and it's true of the Cask Strength too, it's like they are a little bit high degree of difficulty. Like it's tough to just walk into this if you're kind of early in your journey, I think.
Yeah.
Like I think we take that, it's very easy to take that for granted that these are like,
Yeah.
these are very, very
Mhm.
serious flavor profiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, you know what, James, we say that though, and then the one analogy I love going back to is that the first whiskey my daughter got hooked on was Ardbeg Ugadale, which is
Yeah.
sherried and peated.
Yeah.
And so
And
the
it was
interesting
just
thing
like a
there
total
is,
mouthful, just like this.
yeah, and I think the interesting thing there is that no one knows where, you know, there are people who will never be whiskey drinkers or who never
Yeah. We
love it.
shouldn't
But
apologize,
I
is what you're saying.
no, but also I firmly believe that like most people, if you appreciate wine or beer, you could probably appreciate whiskey if you are introduced to a range of them. Because the
Yeah.
reality is no one knows where your entry point is. I don't know where it
Mhm.
is. Harmony doesn't know where it is. You know, and it used to be that like, oh, you got to start with Glenlivet
Yeah.
and work your way up from there. Well, I mean, for some people, Glenlivet probably just tastes like burning. I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
it's not what they're looking for. So, but yeah, you're right. I think this whiskey is big. It is unapologetic. But that said, that like this style might be the one thing that clicks for somebody. And I think that's the
Yeah.
one thing I've learned over 23 years is that you never know where that entry point is going to be for people.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
All
Yep.
right, speed round
Okay.
time.
Yep.
We
Oh,
gotta
I'm
get
looking
we
forward to
gotta
getting
get
back to this high enzyme too.
mhm. Gotta have a mouthful of palate cleansing beer before
Yeah, right.
and maybe a sip of water too, just to
Something hoppy and clean, but yet unfiltered.
that's right. All right, back to the high enzyme. Oh man,
Oh,
It
this is
smells
what I
lovely.
expected it to be when I first opened the bottle. And
I
I'm
I
mean,
feel
this
like
is
I
a
should
smell
be
that I associate with Springbank 10-year-old.
yeah, but
Like
I feel like I
distinctly
should be
that.
wearing a white coat while
it's
nosing this.
it's
Yeah.
very like it's got this nice dusty, you said white coat, which made me immediately think of like that like cotton swab, like that
Mm.
Yeah.
bandage fabric swabs that are at
Is it
hospitals.
making is it making you feel nostalgic for COVID testing back in the days when you went up and they, I don't know,
No,
put
but I do a
hang
blood
up your nose?
transfusion every week, so I have those swabs in my hand. So not
It's funny because there's a bit of a medicinal note to this too.
Mhm.
Like a bit of plasticine, bit of Playmobil. I don't know. There's like a little plasticiness to it.
Yeah, I mean I mean, tell me if you would serve this blind, you wouldn't guess Springbank 10-year-old.
Probably would. Either that or it'd be like either that or it's something from Loch Lomond.
Right.
Yeah, or one of these new distilleries.
Yeah.
But I think the new distilleries would not have that profile. They'd be cleaner
No,
and a
there's a
little
few that
more.
do, but you're right,
Yeah.
most of them don't.
They're not going to have that like salty Play-Doh finish.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
salty
right.
Play-Doh is a total note.
Well, don't you need to add salt to make Play-Doh? I'm
Correct.
pretty
Chemically,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Glen Grant, 98.
Oh man, it's got some like cool overripeness, like almost candied
Hmm.
on the note, on the
Yeah,
nose.
lots of banana, like overripe banana.
Yeah. Yeah, almost that like coconut cream.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know what, to be honest, like ice cream.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Man, that's pretty delicious.
It's very drinkable. It's a sessionable whiskey.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, nice strength too, right? 49.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
nice.
Hmm.
All right. BenRiach.
Hasn't quite opened as much as I thought. In
No,
fact,
it's
it's
still
almost
really tight.
funkier.
It's so soupy.
Yeah,
I was gonna go even there's even like a fartiness to it on the nose.
a
I
little
was gonna
bit.
say like it's got like a fishy bone broth kind of base to it. I
Mm.
don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean, it probably doesn't help that Glen Grant was like such a sweet fruity thing.
The palate's better. It's more honeyed, loads of like granola, some like candied citrus. I actually think the palate on this is quite
Yeah.
nice, but the nose just did not improve with time.
I know. Well,
Maybe,
you know what's crazy, Andrew? I'm sure this has occurred to you, how similar this is to the 96 Longmorn in a lot of ways. Like up the
yeah,
nose, it's got that same where it's like, what happened? Something
yeah.
something happened here.
One, I believe I did, well, we won't go down that road, but I did reference the that scent on the finger with respect to that Longmorn, that you're not sure you like it, but you can't stop smelling it. That's
Such a boy.
this is not quite that not quite that bad.
Uh,
But I like
Oh,
the
well,
I really
coffee
like the
crisp, Andrew.
differences.
Coffee crisp
The
is what you meant to
yeah,
say.
the difference is I really like the palate on this one. I really there was almost nothing redeemable about that Longmorn to me.
Yeah.
So absolutely nothing.
oh.
By the way, just to
Okay.
clear the air, I genuinely like that Longmorn.
Yeah, I know.
Like I think Evan does too. I don't think we were not
Of
voting that
course,
to troll you.
of course he does. Evan likes whiskeys that are like, I don't know, some kind of palate sadomasochism. Like
Yeah.
it's just, and
Just
there's
it
room for
reminded me of
that.
like an old Loire wine,
Yeah.
Oh
like an
man.
old Chenin Blanc. Anyways. Okay, back to friendly land with Aberfeldy.
Oh,
Oh
thank
man.
God.
I mean, this is so honeyed, and I don't know if it's
Yeah.
all that Georgie Crawford, not Georgie Crawford, Georgie Bell reference. That's a different distillery lady.
Well, this is maybe the safest and most like down the center of the fairway whiskey from Gordon MacPhail that I've had in a long time.
Honeycomb, flowers, some nice orchard fruit.
Some nice sweetness on the nose that's come through.
Yeah, it's kind of gotten more fruitcakey and less chocolatey and burnt.
The
More of that
palate's
bubblegum too.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
the
it's opened up
palate's
nicely.
Floral.
slightly on the dumpy side, but it's
Yeah.
good. It's very drinkable. Quite nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it
That's
smells so
neat.
lovely.
Linkwood. Is this where we start moving in? This is where we start moving into mushroom growing territory again, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the sherry starts to pick up.
Almost got a little bit of gunpowder off of that.
It's not the most typical Linkwood, especially on the nose. Palate is definitely more.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
still has that like crazy, hard to describe, like refreshing quality.
Yeah.
Like it finishes zippy on your tongue. I never understand that.
This is probably a Scottish reference I don't get. Groats for breakfast. Um,
Yeah, what are groats? Is that like
some kind of oats,
yeah,
what I
it's
would
like they're cut
guess.
really raw, right? Like
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Raw oats.
I could a lot.
Um, we'll wait to see that coming through on the chat.
Mhm.
Glenburgie, thoughts on the Glenburgie here?
It's beef stew
Oh yeah.
with
yeah.
like
Again, it's
mushrooms.
not over the line, but it's close.
It
If you
is
were to
so
make,
good.
if you were to somehow make children's candy out of meat, I think this
Yeah.
is what it would smell like.
Children's candy out of meat. That
Yeah.
sounds like very, very old kind of folk tale you would tell your kids.
Well, I
I mean,
mean,
the AI is flagging you right now, Andrew.
to be fair,
Not for the
I mean
finger comment, but
they used well, not even candied bacon. I'm thinking something darker than that. Like if you were to take beef short rib and somehow turn it into a candy,
yeah.
I think that's where you're going with this. Now,
Well,
you
it's
laugh at
Maillard
that.
reaction, right? Is I'm gonna put on my
Yeah.
Angus hat here. That's what he would say. Is
So
Maillard.
I love mincemeat pie, like proper mincemeat pie, like mincemeat pie made with like some kind of moose meat or venison. And you get that same effect. Like it's very, it's savory, it's sweet, it's got all that mixed together. But this is kind of like candied meat to me.
Yeah, I think like I'm not gonna lie, I put this on the order sheet because I saw the color of it. Like, and I just
Mhm.
thought, you know what? There's people that are always looking for this type of stuff,
Yeah.
and I knew
Oh,
exactly
beefy.
the relative flavor that it would be going, and it kind of hits that.
This is almost a Mike Briesbach class cask, but it's
Yeah,
too clean.
it's too clean.
So it's too clean.
Yeah.
All right. Benromach Cask Strength. Oh man.
Oh, it's added some sweet layers.
Mm-hmm.
Candied bacon, someone said earlier, and I can totally see that here.
There was a brew pub here in Calgary that used to put bacon relish on their
Oh
burgers.
man.
It was so good.
What
Yeah,
happened to them?
oh, they're still there. I just don't know if they do the bacon relish anymore. They still make a
Huge
good burger.
mistake, clearly.
Um, yeah, this is such an old school profile whiskey
Right?
which is an odd thing to say for a 10-year-old, but I mean, this is whiskey like the way that very few distilleries still make it today.
Well,
And
think
even
of,
though,
I remember Richard saying his grandfather's quote, like they literally wanted to make whiskey the way it tasted in the 1800s. That was their goal at Benromach.
I mean, so the interesting thing is, James, you look at other distilleries that are trying to do this, like say Ardnamurchan, and even as good, and I love Ardnamurchan, I think it's one of the best of the new distilleries that are out there. Even their stuff doesn't taste this old school. Like it's not even close.
Yeah, this one's kind of wild, let's be honest.
Oh yeah, this
All
is
right.
good.
Yeah.
And then the final, the Benromach 2005.
Oh man.
Big on the nose. I think my nose is
Yeah, this
nearing its
falls in
end
that
point.
like you can just nose it forever.
I think we're down to like 6 cases of this.
Seriously?
Yeah.
No, there's more in allocation.
Oh,
Ah,
yeah.
We haven't
quiet
pulled
down.
it all.
No,
I think
we're
there's
all
like
sold
20
out.
cases.
Everybody
Yeah, no,
panic. No.
Well, we've probably sold half of it, which is
At
impressive.
least.
Like that's
Okay.
the reality. We've probably
Unless
sold
you-
half of it over
Yeah,
the
I mean it was a
store.
big cask, right? Because it's sherry. Like I think
Mhm.
there was quite a lot of bottles here. So
Oh, I must be getting
Oh.
my vintages mixed up
yeah.
in our system.
Yeah.
We've pulled all the 2002 then, right?
Yeah, the 2002 is all pulled.
I'll be counting
Um,
that then.
but anyway, guys, I
Well,
need
do
to
you
get
like this more than the 2002?
uh,
I personally do.
no, I
But
don't, but I do really like it.
yeah.
Um,
I mean,
so
that 2002
Harmony,
is also a beast, kind of like the Cask Strength.
yeah. Oh, you know what? I thought I was going to have to quickly create a third cheeky question for Evan, but I don't. It's ready to go.
Oh no.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fire up the poll. I'm going to let people vote, and then I'm going to put you both on the spot to tell me your 3 favorites. And I have
Hmm.
mine sorted. I'm not
Yeah, mine
sure
was
of the
pretty easy
order.
tonight.
So James, if you want to lead us off, give us your 3 favorites tonight.
Yeah, for sure. The your 2005 cask is number 1 for me.
Mhm.
Just man, just a smorgasbord of everything whiskey. Um, yeah, it kind of feels like you discovered that bottle in like your grandpa's basement, and like it's just wild. The Benromach Cask Strength is number 2, 2014. Just like
Yeah.
probably, I don't know. It must be my favorite batch. It's just
Yeah.
got so much going on. And number 3 for me is the fun and fruity Glen Grant 1998.
James, you mind reader, you?
Those are your
We're
favorites
all
too, Harmony?
lemmings.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going back and tasting to see if I'm wrong. And no,
All right.
that's exactly what I would have chosen.
Damn, because that's my order too, is the Benromach 2005, the Cask Strength, and then the Glen Grant. Where is Evan when you need him for a contrarian perspective that you're like, really? Really?
I think Evan would go with whatever that bubblegum note was that breaks your teeth. And then he'd go for the beef stew.
He
Um,
would have gone full fecal matter. I think
Yeah.
the 2 fecal
That's the
whiskeys would have
same
been in
one.
his top 3. No, there was 2 of them that were
He
touching
always
on
says it
that.
with the deadpan too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And
He's
I
got
bet he
such
would
a
have
British
gone.
sense of humor, that man.
He would have gone with high enzyme. I think high enzyme would have been his 3rd.
He would have
He
liked
would've
high
liked high
enzyme.
enzyme. Yeah, for
because
sure.
he'd be all about the weirdness of it. And
Mhm.
And the
you
fact that
know,
it could be Loch Lomond hijacks barley, he's all over that.
Right,
well,
he
and
would have called it the love child of Loch Lomond and Springbank 10. That's how he would have phrased it.
yeah, yeah, that was good. Well, James, I'm going to
The
give
third
people
question.
another 2 minutes to finish or to answer the poll. Actually, one person left, so I'm going to only give you 1 minute. Um, there's some cool stuff coming along lines. You and I were talking today. We're going to do a tasting with the new 79 Glentalkers and 83 Pulteney that have just landed. We'll be telling people about those next week and a
Yeah.
few other things. There's lots of other cool things coming in the new year. The Cairn bottlings from Gordon MacPhail, those are going to be fun.
Yeah.
Sorry, what are they called?
The
The
Cairn, their
Cairn.
new distillery.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's not actually whiskey made at the Cairn. It's whiskey made for the Cairn. But some of them are really old and the prices are quite reasonable. So those are fun. Jesus, did we freeze again? Oh my God. Seriously? Zoom. What the?